يا للفلاح حي عليه الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah. We seek His help, His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the rejected enemy and from all evil of our own selves, our own souls, and from all bad deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides, they will never be led astray. And whoever Allah leaves astray, they can never be guided. And we bear witness, I bear witness, that there is no God but Allah, that He has no partners, no helpers, no son, no daughter. And I bear witness that Muhammad is His slave, His servant, and messenger, and everything that follows that excellent traditional salutation to the Prophet, who's given to us in the Bible, in the Torah, as well as the Quran. Assalamu alaikum. Allah says in the Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Now this is what we're going to be speaking on today, the role of Khalifa. And the purpose of me choosing this particular topic is for me, is really a time in which I'm finding myself in trying to come into this role myself. So I'm going to do my best at trying to explain what the Khalifa is so that we can see ourselves in this role. And this is the role that Muhammad the Prophet held best. Peace and blessings be upon him. And it says in the Quran, and mentioned, speaking to Muhammad the Prophet, when your Lord said to the angels, indeed, I will make upon the earth a successive authority, a Khalifa. They said, will you place upon it one who causes corruption, bloodshed, while we declare your praise and sanctify you? Allah says, indeed, I know what you do not know. So Allah is saying to the angels that I am going to make, or I am in the process of making, a Khalifa. Now, this is a Quranic Arabic term. And I'm I'm saying specifically Quranic Arabic and not just Arabic because this term was not even, hadn't been introduced before. No one knew. The Arabs did not even understand this term, Khalifa. When the Prophet mentioned it to them, they had to ask for explanation of what this term is. So in Arabic, this is Quranic Arabic specifically. So Muhammad, the Prophet, had to teach them the meaning of Khalifa because it had never been given to them. So God makes Khalifa himself, and we have to read the Quran and understand what the plan of God is so that we can better understand what this role of Khalifa is. And not only do we have to just study this term, but Allah has to come in and assist us to understand what this term is and the full light of what it is. But in plain language, according to the teaching of the Quran, the Khalifa is a human being that God himself has shaped and created and is in the process of creating. Allah says, Ja'ilun, which means that it's happening, it's in a process that has not already been created. In that this Khalifa is a special design, which makes him a special human being. And this Khalifa has within him and within his own spirit, his own nature, a desire to stay with the design that God created him in. He has a desire not to lose that. He wants to keep that design that God gave him for his human life. If something tempts that human being, he has within him the desire to want to come back to where God created him. Whatever influences are in the world that try to move him left or try to move him right, the Khalifa is one who wants to seek not just a balance, but a balance that brings him right back to the picture that God established him upon. And anything that influences this person that is going against the plan of God and what God wants for him, it makes that person uncomfortable. And we know that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that he said that he made his jinn submit to the will of God. Or in other terms, he made a jinn Muslim. But what is he saying? He's saying that any desire that he has, anything, and we have many, many thoughts and desires each day. He's saying that everything that comes to his mind, every desire that comes to him, that it is a desire that wants to do what God wants for it to do. Can you imagine being in a situation like that? Having a life like that? But that was our prophet. So when we want to try to understand who Prophet Muhammad is, that is him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it makes this person uncomfortable. So the best example of, in trying to understand what the Khalifa is, the best example is in our prophet. We'll find it in the life of Muhammad, his life. When the world wanted him to deviate from the plan of Allah, the prophet was so still, he didn't move. They wanted him to go left. They tried to throw him off. But he was so still, he didn't move. So they had to strategize and figure out ways to go around him. They couldn't come at him directly. They couldn't even argue with him. Think about that. They couldn't even argue with him. They had to figure out a way to not even, they couldn't even talk. They had to try to persecute him. His position was so sound, his logic was so comprehensive that they couldn't even argue with him because he was the Quran, and the Quran is explained and defined as the argument, the best argument. So why would you try to argue with something that you already know it's going to come with the best argument? You're going to try to find a different way to attack it. And what made it really difficult to attack the prophet was his reputation. You couldn't just lie on the prophet. because he had already spent 40 years of establishing a reputation. As-Sadiq, Al-Alamin. He was the trustworthy one, the truthful one. And later I'm going to speak on concepts in business, but right now, let's think about this. This was the nickname that was given to Muhammad the Prophet, the trustworthy, the truthful. And as much as I try to work and I'm dealing with a lot of different people, I try not to ever, go against the trust that is given. I try to always be truthful. But no one has nicknamed me the trustworthy and the truth. I've never been nicknamed that. Can you imagine we have somebody in our community that everybody says that's the trustworthy one, that's the truthful one. And not just in this small community, but he was in the whole society where everybody had to say that about him. So what does that say about Muhammad the Prophet? It also says that he wasn't a person that just sat in the corner and did or went to the mountain and stayed in the mountain all day. He had to be dealing with people, a social person, had to be dealing with people day to day in order for them to name him that. You have to give, somebody has to give you something and trust you with it for them to nickname you the trustworthy one. They have to give you some possessions for you to hold. And they know when they come back, you're going to have it. Muhammad is the one that's going to have it. So Prophet Muhammad was a bank before there was a bank. You could put your possessions with him and trust that when you come back, they're still going to be there. That's powerful. So we should be like that. We should be that type of person. Not just as an individual, but as a collective. That people should say, well, let the Muslims hold it. Let the believers at Mu'minun hold it. I guarantee you, you go for 10 years, it's still going to be there. And that's coming into the role of Muhammad the Prophet. Peace and blessings be upon him. So he is the best example for us in how we live our life. He never told a lie. To hurt someone, to damage someone, to confuse someone. That wasn't his way. Allah says in the Quran, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يُرْجُو اللَّهَ وَيَوْمَ الْآخِرَةِ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Verily, in the messenger, the Rasul, in the apostle of God, you have, translated here, a good example. But this is Uswatun Hasana. Me and my wife named our daughter Sawab. But it comes from this word Uswa. But it means a balance. See what? A balance. To be equal. So Allah is saying that he was Uswatun Hasana. Hasana in common Arabic is good. But in here, in Quranic Arabic, it means the most excellent. So he had the most excellent balance. The most excellent way of being balanced. That if you try to move him this way, or try to move him that way, he would come back to a balance in the most beautiful way. A way that nobody could argue with. See, some of us try to come back to a balance, but the whole world sometimes go against it. Like, for example, in the Nation of Islam, it was said that the religion is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. So, if a people are seen in a -1, and we talking math, You're in a -1 state. In order to get to 0, considering 0 is a balance, what do you have to do? You have to add a positive. So if we were called dogs and animals, then the opposite of that would be we the cream of the crop. If we were told to abuse our women, be pimps, destroy them, hate them, hurt them, the Nation of Islam will come and clean them up, dress them, tell them they're beautiful, open the door for them. Chivalry at its best. If we were told that we were inferior, the Nation of Islam said, you're God. Listen, think about it. If we thought that the white man was God, and they put Jesus, I was just in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic on a business trip, and they had Jesus, well, supposed to be Jesus, blonde, bright blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and a white face. Now, through the efforts of our community, just so you know, the efforts of this community here, a national community, global community, the community man work with Muhammad, that was eradicated pretty much in the United States. It was our community that stepped up and said, get rid of that. Pictures of the divine. You go back and study, see, we may not study, but you got people that study our history, and they know that that was us that got rid of that. You got Christian leaders that don't have it on their church anymore. When you coming in, they took it down based off the works of our community. But when we went over there, there's a big mural. Like my father in D.C. is a story about my father. There was a huge mural with Jesus Christ and the apostles and at the table. I can't think of the name of it, but the round table where they all the Last Supper. And huge mural, but under the mural was drug addicts and prostitutes and everything like that. And one day my father couldn't make a trip with the rest of the brothers, and everybody went on the trip. So what he decided to do, I guess in his jihad for himself, he was a painter. So he decided to go up there and paint this whole huge mural. It was a landmark in DC. For a long time, it was a landmark. You just say over there with the Last Supper. He painted the whole thing white. Got rid of that whole image. But I'm telling you that was the spirit of our community. So when I went over there to Santo Domingo and I saw this image of blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus Christ, you don't even find white people look like that. I'm serious. It's rare that you find it like that. So this is who we, as a people, believe was God. You had to go to the deep south to find that type of white man. But we believe that was God. So now the Nation of Islam says that that's not God, that's the devil. Flipped it. They told you were the devil, that you were no good, that you can never have good in this life. You have to wait till the next life to get yours. The Nation of Islam said, no, there is no next life. You get yours now. You're not the devil. You're not the worst. You're the greatest. So why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because Muhammad the Prophet was the best example for establishing balance. That it's not enough just to switch things. Because now when you switch it, you're on a positive one. You're trying to get back to 0, but you went to a positive one. And now in a society where it's global, some of that talk don't even work today. So the best tool for equilibrium is the Quran, is God's word, and the life example of Muhammad the Prophet. It's not the studies of the Nation of Islam. And that's why in 1975, for those that don't know the history, in 1975, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed away, his son took up leadership, February 26. And when his son took up the leadership, he immediately put a plan together to take hundreds of thousands of people from believing that the black man was God and that the white man was the devil to believing that there's only one God and that Muhammad the Prophet is the messenger of God. Takbir. My sociology professor told me in my class, we had a sister that came out of one of our schools. And she's in class, and she had her headscarf on, and the professor asked her, well, what kind of Muslim are you? And she said, what do you mean? I'm just Muslim. He said, no, what are you? Sunni, Shiite? She said, oh, I'm Sunni. I believe I'm Sunni. He said, okay. What community are you from? And she said, we just Muslim. He said, you're in the Nation of Islam? She said, no, I'm not in the Nation. I'm not in the Nation. And he started, you're in the Moorish side? I said, no, I'm not. Community member, do you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I am. He said, well, stand up and tell everybody who Warith bin Muhammad is. Or was. Well, no, this was. Tell them who he was. So she says, I can't really tell you. He said, okay, don't worry about it. I'll tell you. He said, everybody listen. He said, Warith bin Muhammad, speaking, he was really just addressing the sociological perspective. He said he led the largest transformation from one ideology to another ideology in the history of mankind without creating any bloodshed. He said that he took black Americans, Muslim Americans, from believing that they were God and the white man was the devil to believing that there was only one God and Muhammad the Prophet was the messenger, and brought them to the true religion of Al-Islam. Now I'm watching, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. That he, Christian professor, actually, he might have been atheist. A lot of the professors are not really religious. And I don't believe he was religious at all. I just think that he recognized our history and the beauty of our history. You see, Allah blesses every people with a person, a model example. And we all know that our true model example was Muhammad the Prophet, who Imam Muhammad came to help us learn who the Prophet was. Not just us, but people recognize that the condition that we were in and the condition that we came to, they had to study him for themselves. It is I believe, my personal belief, is that our communities will never have true progress until we recognize first the blessing that Allah has already given us. We won't go nowhere until we first recognize the blessing that God gave us. And then implement it. So, Muhammad the Prophet was one who was a huge help for the whole world. That if you want to come back to the balance, a perfect balance, then study his way. That was his way. So God said to the angels that I'm making such a person in the earth, and they were disturbed by that because they knew that the human being, that some of them would stay with it, but then some of them wouldn't. And those that would stay with it, it was because God was making the human being also free. See, now we live in a time where people confuse the word freedom. A lot of our children who came through our school system and went out into the world, they believed the whole time that they weren't free. And when they got out to the world wanted them to believe that now you can be free. Take off that hijab, take off that kufi, get out your clothes and be free. That's what they tell them. I'm telling you. You know, be free. Date who you want to, go where you want to, do what you want to, be free. But freedom is truly responsibility. And responsibility is your ability to respond. So we have to ask, what are we responding to? We have to respond to the call of God. And when we respond to the call of God, we now have true freedom. And Muhammad the Prophet showed us freedom. He exemplified freedom. He had a free mind. His mind wasn't trapped. A lot of our young people, they come out there and they believe that they're getting freedom, but they're walking right into a trap. And I try to, well, I say we, because there's a group of us who really are trying to do what's right and really trying to be an example for our community. That we are trying to show our community that the life that you took, look where you are. Look what it has done to you. Look how you think. Look how you act. Look how you dress. You're trying to be like them, but you're afraid to go to the depths of where they are. So you'll get slightly naked, but you won't go totally where they are. You'll cuss a little bit, but you ain't about to be all out there. You'll sip a little something, but you ain't about to be a drunk. Smoke a little weed, but you ain't about to be on crack. But we have an obligation for those who God has saved to exemplify the word of God, to show the world what Khalifa is, and show them that is the beauty. That's what Satan didn't recognize. He didn't recognize that Khalifa is one who would be able to have the ability to hear the word of God, to respond to it, and to come back to the way. It means to go back in the Arabic. It means to go back. So the Khalifa is one that returns back to his original nature when the world tried to call him to a different way. So when we mentioned that this word was not that this word was not introduced, Khalifa, it was not introduced until the Prophet came. They didn't have this word Khalifa in Arabic. But they had other words in Arabic that used that had the same term within it, Khalafa, so they could kind of understand. But the Prophet explained why it's a description of a human being, because it is one who will return. It means to go back in Arabic. But it's one who will return, one who will go back to the original nature that God created when they hear the call. And the call could be in your own spirit, in your own soul. Sometimes you don't need somebody to tell you to, put down the crack pipe or the weed. You hear it within your own self. Say, man, what am I doing? Why am I acting like this? And you put it down. But that is the Khalifa. And we know that Satan says, well, I'm going to attack them. I'm going to get all of them, except for your elite, except for your best ones. But I'm going to turn all of them out. So let's be Khalifa. Let's set up systems. Create systems. See, now we live in a time where huge global society that we have to get very creative in how we fight the devil or fight the schemes of the devil. And Allah tells us that in the Quran: fight the plan, fight the schemes of the devil, fight the schemes of Satan. But we have to get very creative on how we do it. We could create businesses, I'm telling you, to fight the scheme of Satan. Everything don't have to be a 501c3. You know, when you go to war, they say that the person that wins the war is the one that got more money. You don't got enough money, you can't fight the battle. You might as well fold up. So we got to go and get the money so that we can fight this war even harder. Can you imagine a billboard? I think they charge in Atlanta maybe even cheaper. 3 to 5 to 10. Sometimes I think I've seen the price $11,000. Can you imagine a billboard up there with a beautiful Muslim family? And it said, "This is family." In this day and time, when the whole world is trying to tell you what family is, they got two homosexual white men holding each other, and maybe like 2 kids with them and a little dog, and they tell you this is family. So we live in a time where we have to be, it's weird, but we have to sit here and try to tell people what family is. But we should. That's what Allah means when He said fight the schemes of Satan. But in order for you to fight it, you can't just, talk about it, think on it. We got to get busy. It takes money to put a big billboard up there like that. That's why I appreciate the Muslim Journal, because our paper was a huge dawah to me. Huge dawah to me. My father was one of the number one paper salesmen in D.C. And we know some in every city, but I got so many people say, "Man, your father was the one who brought me to the religion, brother. I'm Muslim, my whole family Muslim because of your father, man." Or that brother right there, he brought me to the religion. We probably know one right here in this community that everybody probably came to this way because of that person. We had people who were willing to work and to spread the message of God. And now we in a time where is that we have to get busy. I'm speaking directly to a lot of the young people. Typically, I like to do that because I feel like I'm talking to myself, really. We have to get busy. Like I know a few people, were inspired to come to the religion of Islam through some of the works that I've done. I could probably count them on my hand. But can you imagine when you got hundreds of people, hundreds, thousands of people, and during the Nation of Islam, you're talking about one person that will hand out 300 papers a day. A day. They out there spreading that, and then guess what? That paper costs, didn't it? Hey, so that's more money that comes in so that you can go out there and do more work. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. آمين. Okay. So this is really our true purpose, I'm thinking of, in our school system, we could ask, the young people to do math, to do science, language arts, history. And I listen to the young people. And a lot of them kind of confide in me. And they say, "Man, what's the point of me doing this? What's the point? Where am I going to use this at? How am I going to use this?" And then I go out and I've been all across the country in our communities and I listen to the parents, listen to the teachers, and they say, so that you could get a good job. Think about that. That's what they say. Many of us are guilty for it. So you could get a good job. Don't you want a good job? So you could go to college. I'm mentioning that because we have to come into the life that God wants for us. That's our best life. And this is Adam. Adam, according to the verse that we was reading earlier, he really didn't exist yet. He really didn't have a life. He was a container. But his container was given life when God said, wait until I breathe into him of my own spirit and inspire him. Spirit, inspire, that comes from the same word. Inspiration comes from spirit, the word spirit. So wait until I inspire him. Wait until my spirit is within him. Then acknowledge him. So Allah's order was not to acknowledge Adam before the spirit was in him. It was after the spirit was put in Adam that they were supposed to acknowledge him. So the mind conforms to the spirit, meaning that before the spirit that God intends for the human being, for the human life, that everything else is just a flesh vessel. But there is no true human being, no true human person in that flesh. So this is the importance of the spirit. And what is that spirit? The spirit is the influences in life, or the influence in life, that supersedes, that dominates all other influences in your life. It produces a spirit that dominates over all other spirits in your life. And we know that's what they even call liquor, spirits. They call liquor spirits because it's an influence. It's an influence of your life. But here, Allah is telling us that Adam, when he put this influence, this spirit, this inspiration, that not only the angels, but everything that God created would be made subservient to that man, would be a slave, a servant to man. They will become a tool and a resource to man, so that man can become a tool and a resource to his own human existence and community and society. For what? To worship God. So that is our nature. So what is it that Allah wants us to have? He wants us to have the spirit. The spirit that he wants us to have is already within us. Allah wants for us to have the spirit to obey the will of Allah. And when that happens, our whole life will be changed. We will be under a new mind. We will be under a whole new life. Everything will change. We as people will change. So we are naturally born with the spirit of God. We have that. Allah has given that to us when we're first born. But we understand that the influences in our life, the influences when we're born, as soon as we come out of the womb, we have influences that will start to shape us and change us and direct us. But Allah wants us to understand that his influence should supersede, should dominate over all influences that we experience. And then when it happens, when we come into that, everything that he creates, everything that he has made, and he has put on this world, in the future, what's present, it will bear and accommodate the will of God. And I'm a witness of that. You know, there's times when I know I'm trying to do right. I could be helping somebody. I could be helping myself, helping my family. I know I'm trying to do right. and I know I have a block in front of me. Somebody trying to block me. You know, they don't want me to get it. There's situations that I be in, somebody trying to hold me back. And I just keep going. And Allah like, man, Allah deal with that person. Next thing, this person got in a car crash. And I'm not, proving it. I'm just saying, all type of stuff happens. People be coming out here and make threats at you. Next thing you know, you find that person. All type of crazy stuff will happen. And you just think about it and say, man, Allah is most merciful. I'm a witness to that. I'm telling you. So when we come into what Allah wants us to come into, nothing can prevent, nothing can stop us. Even when we think it's stopping us, it's not stopping us. I watched a brother in our community, young brother in our community. And man, when he passed away, I had the question. I said, man, what? Why would Allah do that? I couldn't fathom. How? Why? I'm thinking that this brother gonna be the leader of our community, gonna take us where we got to go. That was his spirit. And he passed away in his 20s. But then, over time, I struggled with that. And I realized that there was other people around the U.S. that knew him too. And they struggled with that. Same thing. I thought I was the only one. And I go to all these other places and other people struggle with that. And I'm listening to these people, listening to them talk, looking at the work that they're doing. And I'm like, man, you remind me of that brother. And they say the same thing about me. You remind me of that brother. And then it hit me. I say, he was a servant of God. That his death gave us life. So something you could think that is holding back the community, that could be preventing the community from moving forward, over time, God will reveal his plan, and you realize that the whole time, that was just a part of what God wanted. So the whole world becomes a tool, subservient to man. So what did he say of the Khalifa? He said he's making everything subservient to him. He's making everything useful and making it yield his usefulness. So it's not just useful, but it's going to yield his usefulness. He made things in the sky and on earth to yield his usefulness. And if we accept the responsibility that God created for us, he says that he's going to make everything that you see in this world serve you, serve your mind for the benefit of our whole society. So going back to the school, when the students hear this, I'm telling you, when this is given to them first, we may put math, science, language arts, and everything above, but we got to stop that. That math is just a tool. Science is just a tool. My wife can tell you when I before I started, I would say before I had caught the spirit. Put it that way. I had a low grade point average at the school. When I'm reading, I was going through some stuff. I knew I wasn't right. I asked my father, I said, can you send me something Islamic? That's how I put it. I said, send me something Islamic. He sent me 4 transcripts of Imam Muhammad. So everything I'm talking about right now, this is some of the stuff that I was reading. What you hear me talking about right now, I was reading this. I'm 16. And I'm reading what I'm talking about right now, I'm reading it. And I'm like, man, I ain't never heard nothing like this before. And I'm running through, I ain't never read a book before. Before that, I ain't read a book. Tell you the truth, I ain't read books. But then, I ran through all them transcripts, and I felt successful. I'm all excited. After that, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, read the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. I started reading everything. Because why? I had now caught the spirit. I now had life. I now had purpose. And now since then, can't nobody take me off. Inshallah. I'm driven. I'm excited. Since that day, I'm telling you, I was able to read about our history, what we went through, our pain, our struggle, our cries, our tears, our joyfulness, our culture. And I read about how God put us in a situation where all of our life was stripped from us. We had nothing. No family life, no cultural life, no business ties, nothing. We were put in a society where everything everything that was around us, we had to take on, inherit. And how in college they said, I was studying, they said over 30% of the slaves were Muslim. Over 30%. And this is based only off their findings. Some stuff they ain't find yet. So we were stripped from our religion. Empty vessels. Here in America. And through all of that turmoil and stress, Allah has now blessed us to be sitting right here with the Holy Quran in our mind. Again. But now Allah is raising us up to be Khalifas and moral examples for the whole world. A world that once denied us. Just like Yusuf, the prophet. The world put us in that situation, put us in that condition. It knew we were in that condition. And then through Allah's mercy, He brought us up, raised us, just like Yusuf. So, when we come into this, when God puts that spirit within us, I didn't need to be a lawyer, I hired a lawyer man. I didn't need to be an engineer, we hired engineers. To do what? To work for God's plan. Everything becomes a tool man. Yeah, we should study science. Yeah, we should study math. But now when we study math and science, the students won't ask, what's the purpose of this? Why am I doing this? They have nobody doing it. They have a new life. They have a new mind. So this is what we want to give our future. We want them to be able to understand what's the purpose of your life. What is the purpose of your life? Allah says in the Quran, who is it that will loan to God, loan to Allah, a beautiful hasanah, a beautiful loan, so that He will multiply for him and he will have a noble reward. So what is a loan first? What is a loan? A loan is something that you give with an expectation that you are going to later receive it back. You give it and you just hope, you expect that you're going to receive it back. But Allah's saying that who's going to give him the loan? Which means that whatever you give is guaranteed to come back. Because it's God, it's God the one that's taking the loan. So what is that we give to God and that He will give back to us and He will multiply? What is that hasanah? What is that excellent, most beautiful, excellent loan that we can give God? It's our life. It's not our money. It's not our blood that reaches God. It is our worship. So our whole life should be to worship God. And that doesn't mean just keep your head in sajda. That means get out here and fight the schemes of the devil who's fighting against you. Situate yourself. We have to, I'm telling you. We have to situate ourselves so much so, like the prophet. They had money. They had community life. They had homes. Study Medina. They had all of this. They wanted to fight a war. They had a whole army. How are you going to fight against them? We have to pattern our life out after the life of Muhammad the Prophet. Not after the life of these jokers nowadays that's claiming the religion. Telling us to stay away from money and stay away from the dunya. Did the Prophet ever say that? Absolutely not. He was holding money for other people. So this is the life that we want. This is definitely the life I want. I'll tell you now. I want money, and I want it so that we can help our community more. It's only so much you can do with just a few thousands. But if you got the spirit that God gives you, and you come into $1 billion, can you imagine a brother or sister in our community? We know that was raised up in our community, work for our community. You know that they have the interest of the community in mind, and then they come into billions of dollars. Man, that's what we're looking for. So we'd be crazy if we tell our students and our children stay away from money. Our schools should be situated where we are trying to create billionaires. That's the way it should be situated. It should be situated where it's that they don't just learn about the tool, learn about the hammer, learn about math. All those are just tools. They should figure out how does that tool serve our life so that we can serve God better. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إقامة الصلاة.
تكبير تكبير
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. I have the announcements for today, and I just wanted to say this publicly about Imam Shareef. Wanted to thank you, appreciate you for the We Buy Black, and also on that successful convention. Very, very wonderful. Alhamdulillah. School, today is the last day of school, and Project Smile will not have any classes until the first Sunday in January, is what I understand. Breakfast is still served at the masjid every Sunday morning from 9:30 to 1. And please, brothers and sisters, either get a subscription to the Muslim Journal or buy a copy. Um, I think they should be on the receptionist desk. The Health and Wellness Committee continues to request assistance with visiting the sick and shut-in. It is the obligation of every Muslim to show care and concern for his fellow brother and sister in Al-Islam. We would like to organize teams of brothers and sisters to go visit believers in the hospitals, nursing homes, personal care homes, as well as in their private homes. An excellent way to demonstrate your love and concern for fellow Muslims is to give them a call just to check on them. We have several people on the list this week that would appreciate a call to just check on them. And I see two of the sisters that are here today, alhamdulillah. Brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad, most of us know him as the commander. Sister Linda Fardan, Sister Safia Sabir, and Sister Dahia Akbar. For phone numbers, contact Brother Anis Fardan and volunteer to help. Fourth Sunday, Health and Wellness Sunday presentation is on genomics, is hereditary screening, using DNA to know for sure what medicines are best for you, being able to know if your child will be born with defects, being able to know how to reduce the incidence of cancer in your family. You will get an explanation of this new science known as personalized medicine, and we will learn the advantages and disadvantages so the health and wellness of our community can be enhanced. That is this Sunday, December 23rd, from 2 p.m. until 3:15 p.m. And also, Master Assure is having their annual Lady Khadijah Award, and we have, where is she, Sister Linda Fardan will be honored as one of the recipients, and that's Sunday, and that's at 1 p.m. Masjid Al Quran is having this annual fundraising event on December 25th from 3 to 5. There's no money on here. It said donations can be made by PayPal, Cash App, checks, and cash. Um, the walk, run, wheat drum, Martin Luther King Day 5K drum run, which is January 21st at Piedmont Park. Muslimas Endure will be running in that event to help celebrate. Join our team during registration to help us reach their goal of 50 runners. Very, very inspirational. Assalamu alaikum.
she's doing pretty good. She's doing all right. I'll keep trying to slow her down.
So, what's been happening lately?
I mean, she was coming back, she healed from her burn. And then, she had to be saved. She had got some dirty burns from one of the soldiers. She wasn't killed, still which should have happened in the first place. She had I was just when you saw it last night. And so long heat, it automatically just cut off. So I don't know why that was big.